Good afternoon, everybody. I just wrapped up M9, Special Operations Forces. It's Thursday afternoon, and I'm just throwing down a quick review of what we talked about today for the Special Operations lesson, and I'll do a quick summary of what to expect for the Air Power lesson on Tuesday. So we've got a 3-day weekend coming up. Monday, there are no classes. So I want to just highlight a couple very quick things. So we do have our first GR. GR number 1 is coming up next Thursday. It'll be implemented. A couple things. I've posted on a new Teams channel on each of your Teams pages for the class. It says a GR forum is what it is. And some of the cadets and students have asked to throw up some kind of a place where students can collaborate and ask questions and answer questions and whatnot. It could get complicated really fast, so I would encourage you to use discipline, if you will, as you write up new questions and try to get some help on maybe confusing points or questions you might have. Students are encouraged to respond to each other. If you know the answer and can help out somebody, jump in and take care of that. If things get really overwhelming, I can jump in and help out. But I would ask you guys to maybe send me a quick chat and say, sir, can you take a look at the chat or the GR forum in class for the first period M1, and I'll jump in there, because otherwise it may get overwhelming and I won't know exactly where to engage. So the GR, as I've talked about, is going to be 50 questions administered on Blackboard. It's a multiple choice, so 50 multiple choice questions. You will have a full 53 minutes to accomplish the test. I'm still deciding if we want to have you guys execute the test from home or if you're going to actually come into class and execute. What I think I'll probably do is just allow you guys to stay in your rooms if needed to do the test. It is closed book and closed note, so I'm putting a lot of trust in your integrity, of course, which I have no problem doing. I know you'll do the right thing, but we'll talk tactical details. Keep an eye on Teams for that kind of tactical communications and how we're going to execute that final exam or the first exam. Okay, so a quick review. Lesson 9, we covered Special Operations Forces. It's a fairly straightforward lesson. We talked about the unique capabilities that Special Operations Forces bring to the joint fight. And of course, it transcends kind of the direct action missions that we imagine when we think of the Navy SEAL raid on the Bin Laden compound, where a group of team members roll in on a specific target for a quick duration activity, get in and get out type thing. That's what we call direct action. But our Special Operations Forces are very well equipped to do that kind of stuff, particularly our SEALs and our Army Delta operators. However, there's a lot of other mission sets that capture Special Operations Forces. That could be foreign internal defense, where we get Special Forces, usually Green Berets or Army Green Berets or Army Special Forces. They roll in and they work to bolster up the local government, to really help establish norms over there in various places so that they can execute laws and keep law and order in the region. So our special forces, the Green Berets, are the ones that are usually best suited to walk into a foreign location and work side by side with the indigenous populations. They are specially trained in languages, especially trained in working with the local population to establish kind of order. So they have a very unique mission set. They're also warriors, of course. They can carry guns and hammer people as needed. But their primary mission is to focus on helping other nations bolster things. Inversely, they can also roll in and be a counter to the government. Our Special Forces teams can work in and help generate some kind of a rebellion or resistance effort to help fight an existing government. So our Special Forces do that. In the movie 12 Horse Soldiers, that you guys had featured last year as freshmen, was an example of that. You had Special Forces roll into Afghanistan to help train up Afghani men to fight against the Taliban in the early days post 9/11. So that's an example of Special Forces. There's also civil affairs, which they roll in and kind of similarly send a message, kind of information operations is what they call it, where they're working to develop the narrative in a region to help influence the battle space. And there's a whole other thing in the slide deck, which I've posted to the Teams channel. I've also posted a Blackboard. Take a look at that slide deck. There's probably 8 to 10 to 12 different mission sets that encompass Special Operations Forces. So just be pseudo-familiar with those things, what they are. A lot of those were not covered in the textbook directly or the Bin Laden reading. But we all think, again, just to be clear, we all think that Special Operations is generally direct action, and historically it has been lately, but we are engaged, those are the ones that hit the news, we're engaged all over the world with this kind of stuff. We also talked about kind of the unique capabilities, where they operate. They often are used when there's a clandestine mission. It's a high visibility, there's a high risk of danger, it's politically sensitive. They need to have a small footprint, maybe a Stryker battalion or something would be too noisy, too big. So special forces kind of have that specialized training, the innovative thought process where they can solve problems real time. And the Bin Laden article that we read really informed a lot of that and described some specifics. Okay, moving on to the air power lesson. It's a new reading this semester. This is the first time we're executing this new reading. But I printed it off. It's 20 pages, and it prints off kind of wonky. I'm sorry about that. And much of the 20 pages are footnotes, so it should not read like 20 pages. It'll probably read more like 11 or 12 pages. But the objectives are really to understand air power, lesson 10 before our GR. We're going to talk kinetic and non-kinetic operations and what kind of effects they can have. Kinetic being bombs, explosions, hard things that happen on the ground. Non-kinetic, meaning there's no energy transfer from a physics perspective. That could be cyber attacks or things of the like. Our second objective is to really talk about strengths and weaknesses of air power, because we're proud of Air Force. We boast a lot about it. But the reality is there are some downsides to air power as a whole. But we do bring a lot of capability from a strategic perspective, ISR, global mobility to the Joint Force from a strengths perspective. And our last objective is really to isolate, identify what some specifics, put some meat on what we do in the joint environment. That could be medical evacuations. We've mentioned ISR, but very specific things that the Air Force does specifically. That's all I have. We'll wrap this up. I know this is a long video, and my apologies for that, but we spent some time in the front end doing some GR review. I hope you have a safe weekend. Be safe over the Labor Day, and we will see you guys, some of you, on Tuesday morning. Thanks.